Hello everyone, it's Richard here from UKVersus. We're doing another deck profile for the channel. Just sort of something I've put together that I've had fun with at locals. Don't know how good it is. I've only played one set with the deck so far, but it certainly felt like it was doing the thing, and it certainly felt like a lot of fun. I think it's sort of a slightly different way to play Toga. Still playing weapons because that's what she does, but the playmat might be a little bit of a giveaway as to what we're going to be doing. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to have had this idea of what to do with Toga. We are playing City Rampage Toga, a card which I obviously have been on record saying I'm not a fan of and think is not good. The results seem to say otherwise, and possibly I was wrong on that, and certainly it seemed to do the thing this evening when I was playing with it. So everyone knows what City Rampage does. I think by this point we're going to obviously be playing 5-diff tribal, and with Toga we're playing 5-diff weapons tribal, but City Rampage is, you know, giving you that check hacking and just some extra stats. Obviously Toga, she's going to be committing your opponent out pretty quickly. That's what she generally does. But, you know, outside of that first attack, getting the big boost, she sometimes struggles a bit for finding damage. City Rampage helps with that. The other thing Toga sometimes struggles with is finding the good ones and finding a good hand, which City Rampage kind of goes against, I guess, because, you know, you're taking up 1/6 of your hand size. So, you know, we've tried to work with that in terms of what we're going to see in the attack lineup and stuff. I think there's a couple of new tools in Attack on Titan that I think really helps. One in particular we'll see coming a bit shortly. But yeah, I mean, it just adds those stats. You know, we know what City Rampage does. We're just now playing 5-diff tribal. We are playing on the Chaos symbol because I think that's just Toga's best symbol, and, you know, obviously it's the only one that we can play on City Rampage. But yeah, so we're playing 5-diff tribal. So we will have a look at our attack lineup. So obviously we are playing 4 Deception Dagger. It's probably the best attack in her kit, just in terms of how it works with her. It's got a lot going for it. You know, it's a pseudo 6 to 7 speed, maybe 8, with the removal and the stun 2 on top. Obviously really good to snap into momentum, give one of the weapons stun 2. And I think the removal from discard pile has just become more and more important, specifically because of 2 cards. One obviously being combined firepower. It's everywhere. Rodan's still a threat. You know, there's still other decks playing combined firepower. This obviously gets rid of them. And the other card, which we'll show shortly, we are also playing 3 of the other reason to play this card is 3 Risky Encounter. Our Death Attune card, obviously Toga. Toga got a lot in terms of options from this set, just because all 3 of her symbols are in Attack on Titan. So, you know, you've got all 3 of those sort of attuned cards to pick from. Risky Encounter being a weapon, it's a 5-diff. It's got stun 1, so, you know, you can always lead off with it if you need to get the extra bit of stun. But just being able to always sort of have an extra one of these to play at the end of that string and get that final bit of damage, I think, you know, even if you're not doing the City Rampage sort of thing with Toga here, I think you'd be mad to be playing any less than sort of 2 of these. I think I'd go as a bare minimum, but 3, I could even see playing 4 Risky. It's obviously very good. Probably one of, if not the best card in the new set. The base stats as a 4 high, 4 stun 2 in Toga, not embarrassing. Getting some extra damage for foundations, differential. Again, so, you know, early on, especially if you're just playing this raw from your hand as a 5-diff, you're not necessarily going to get much from that. But once you start playing 1 or 2 of these from a discard pile, then all of a sudden these are stacking up a whole bunch of damage towards the end of a string where they can't block because they've either blocked your earlier stuff or they're just fully committed out. The next attack I'll line up for Black Abyss, it's a weapon. It helps our checks. It's really good to snap into momentum with Toga. Does what it does. Yeah, you know, these, you generally want, you know, your Deception Daggers and your Abysses are your ones you're trying to snap into your momentum, just because they have those face abilities to be doing extra stuff for you. It's a low, so it's another off zone. So we're playing a reasonable sort of zone mix up here. You know, we've got mids here, we've got highs here, we've got lows here. quite often, you can happily have this connect because, especially with getting the +1/+1, a stun from Toga, maybe they've blocked an early deception dagger or that's stunned them already. So quite often you can use these alongside the City Rampage and stuff to sort of help chain an actual string of these 5 diffs, similar to, very similar to what Godzilla was doing with this sort of a package. We're just doing it under Toga. Our next attack in our lineup is the ever ubiquitous Walk the Dog. I'm quite happy playing 4 of these here. Usually I'm one to maybe play 3 of in a Toga list, but given we're playing the City Rampage to help with the difficulty anyway, it's just another one that we're, between risky from the discard pile and Walk the Dog, reducing its own difficulty, just being able to not have them be true 5 discs, I think is important. And everyone knows how good Walk the Dog, especially if you can chain 2 or 3 of them together. It's just busted. Again, it's a low off zone. Our final 2 attacks. So we're playing 4 Sudden Stab, a card that's not really seen much play ever, and actually has been totally reasonable. It's not been amazing, it's not been bad. It was just totally solid. Probably don't even know what this card does. So it's just a weapon. It's a 5 diff, 5 mid for 5. Enhance, if it's blocked, your next check to play a weapon attack gets +1. So it's a 5 diff. It helps you face, we lead off on this and they block. Okay, our next check gets +1. So we're sort of mitigating that whole 5 diff trouble thing. And then if it's the first attack you play this turn, draw a card. We always like to be able to draw. So again, it's not an embarrassing one to lead off with. And you just play this, give it Toga stats and say, sure, either, you spend your stuff dealing with this, in which case my Black Abysses or my Walk the Dogs are coming in, or I'm connecting with this for sort of 7 damage. So, and the other main reason, to be honest, is a mid block. As you'll notice, we've got lows here, we've got highs here. And this is our only mid block on our attacks, because our last attack we're playing is 3 well orchestrated attacks. This card I think is pretty underrated. I think we sort of mentioned that on the stream we had with Ty the other day. Just a 5 high for 4. It's obviously the weapon. We stun them 1. We then draw 1 to 3 cards, especially if we lead off with this. Like when I was playing, these are coming in for sort of 10 damage, 8, 9, 10 damage, even more. You lead off with this with Toga if you've got a City Rampage, maybe with the City Rampage. So it's going to be an 8 high for 6. Let's say you just draw 1, you've got 6 cards in your hand. It's an 8 high for 12 with stun 1 on a 5 diff. It is a 2 check, and you will hate your life when you play a City Rampage and check one of these. That's why we're only running 3. You could definitely play 4 of them. I think the card's just very, very good. It's a way of refilling our hand and getting that gas that sometimes Toga sort of really struggles to get and keep her strings going and actually kill. And if you look at all of these attacks, they are all pretty threatening. This is the least so, which is why this is our best lead off. But this is generally coming in for potato damage, Walk the Dog. You all generating momentum. This can be coming in for potato. Black Abyss is 6 damage at base. Risky Encounter, but could be easily be coming in for 8 or 9. Deception Dagger is only the 5, but all of these are getting buffed by hopefully City Rampage or maybe even 2. So all of our attacks are pretty threatening here. And we've got ways to help our checks, ways to draw cards, ways to commit them out, value from our discard pile, and obviously a whole bunch of damage, whole bunch of damage. They're all doing pretty good stuff. So we're playing 22 attacks. I can't remember what the exact number was. I think it was 22 and 64. But yeah, I could see maybe playing a 4th one of these. Maybe trimming a Walk the Dog, just because it can be a little iffy as you draw 2 or 3 and that's the only things, and it's just well, I can't really play this from late. I could see playing a 4th risky, maybe trim a Black Abyss, but I don't think so. Again, if there was a more exciting thing for this slot, sure, but it sort of does a job. It's a very workmanlike piece, I found. You're quite happy to lead off with it, especially maybe even as a poke. They don't know if they block it, they're then giving you freedom to then lead into a Deception Dagger or an Abyss or a Walk the Dog or what have you. So yeah, I found the attack lineup worked pretty well. So then we'll move on to our assets, which we are playing a couple. So we are playing 1 vertical maneuver equipment and 2 knots flask. I guess I would like a second one of these if I could find room, but because we're playing the 4 actions, and because I really do value having knots flask here, it was hard to find space. But again, you maybe could play a second. Again, one of the best cards in Attack on Titan. Like, I think one of the things this deck is doing is playing some of the best cards we got from the Attack on Titan set, because we get that 3 symbols worth of attunement between Risky, between Well Orchestrated, and this. Like, you know, we generate momentum pretty easily. And so having this as like just extra speed to have our things connect, or a way of defense, and sometimes just commit for that extra 2 damage sometimes matters. So probably could be a second one of these. But yeah, I've only gone for the 1 for now. And then, yeah, 2 knots flask. Again, extra damage to try and push through kills, some damage reduction to try and help save us, and milling, I think, is always a nice sort of side effect thing to have in Toga, because you want to have stuff in your discard pile to snap with her response, and it's a way of getting your risky encounter in your discard pile, right? So again, you could easily play 3 of these. I think Knots Flask are very good, but I'm happy with the couple. But yeah, maybe this should be a 2 of, but I don't think I'd ever cut the 1 copy at least. And then we go to our foundations. So our 0 diffs, we've got 2 Master's Pride, 3 Easily Excited, and then 4 Basic Training. So I like to at least have sort of somewhere between 8 and 10 in a deck. Chaos obviously has some of the best zeros, like Basic Training, just getting extra damage, a bit of deadlock pressure. Master's Pride, just something you can very easily recommit, re-ready, because you're always going to, quite often snap momentum during your turn. And again, another little bit of deadlock threat. I mean, maybe this could be a 3 and 3, just because having the extra resources when we are playing this high difficulty lineup, and we don't necessarily always see City Rampage, might be better. But and then we've got 3 Easily Excited. It's just sort of the best other option, just a bit of extra speed, high block. You know what it does by now. So that's our zeros. Our 1 diffs. So we've got a bit of defense in 3 Fast Friendship. Just one of the better spam defensive foundations. Just put it for -2 or -3 with a high block. Just really nice. Like, it's always something I'm happy to see in a deck. And then we got some draw card foundations. So we need to have plenty to make up for the fact that we're effectively cutting our hand size down with the City Rampages. We need ways of drawing cards. We've got 3 Dangerous Combatant. It is very easy to turn this on. 3 Chivalrous, one of the weaker ones, because we don't necessarily want to give them cards, but sometimes it doesn't really matter because they're stunned out, so it doesn't matter. And has a bit of protection of our more key foundations. 3 Fearsome Transformations, very easy to turn this on. We generally always going to have a momentum to just flip this, draw a card. And then we've got a couple of Horrifying Realizations, just as a form thing. Again, more sort of block zone. So we've got like lows here, highs here, and we've got a couple of mids in our sort of draw here, just as a way of filtering. Sometimes you just have 0. Sometimes you get those hands where you don't know you can go in, like maybe you've got 1 or 2 attacks, maybe you've got some draw foundations, and just maybe having one of these to help confirm whether it's a hand you can go into, like maybe draw an extra card, getting that extra attack, or maybe you've got a hand with 0 attacks and you need to try and dig for 1 to then turn the rest of your stuff on. Sure, it gives them the ability to sort of loot through their hand, or damage through their hand, but if they discard a foundation, then they commit a foundation. If they discard a foundation, they commit 1. So helping our standout plan. So has been solid. Again, I could maybe see cutting one of these other ones, playing a 3rd one of these, but this has been fine. And then again, struggling with studies. Just ways of picking up our stuff we're blocking with if they're sort of going heavy on us, or just protecting our foundations on the flip. Struggling is pretty everyone knows what that does by now. Our 2 diffs. So we got 3 nice try. Just an unexciting but a solid defensive piece. Something we're happy to commit on our turn because it's sort of free. 3 def maneuvers, our best way of staying out of deadlock, and one of our better deadlock threats. We want to have some, and just has the amazing sort of 1 high block. So I think to be picking up and struggling with people are smashing us with highs, which a lot of people are doing at the moment. But yeah, just one of those excellent kind of utility foundations that are doing everything you need. 2 incredible display. Just again an awesome sort of catch-all, just to cancel stuff. Cancels are very good. Blocking with and then picking back up our def maneuvers, just so we've always got those high blocks. I'm a big fan of Cradle Slay, and then playing one since the past. Again, a new addition from Attack on Titan. It is unique, but I could see maybe wanting to play more because, again, discard power removal. We do have some obviously with the Deception Daggers, but being able to play this either obviously out of the foundation or on block with it, being able to remove one of those riskies or combine firepower on the discard pile, really important. And just we generally will always have the momentum to be able to just discard this, draw 2 cards, sacrifice it, draw 2 cards. Again, making sure we've always got that gas. So it kind of does 2 roles in the deck. I could see maybe playing a second, but because it's unique, I think I'm happy enough playing one. Maybe where you are playing decks that are really heavily reliant on that stuff going into the discard pile, like your combined firepower decks, maybe more in the sideboard. But yeah, that's the deck. Pretty straightforward. There's not been much change, I think, from a standard Toga list in terms of our foundation lineup. I don't think there's much I would change if I wasn't playing the sort of City Rampage version. I think maybe these slots would be things like maybe a cape or Genkais or Dark Tournament Looms, that sort of thing. But it certainly, whenever I play the City Rampage, it seemed to hold its weight. Certainly the card I think I was most impressed with when playing through this was the Well Orchestrated Attack. Was just a very high statted attack that just has low damage and is always guaranteed to replace itself. You are playing a 2, you just sort of need to remember that. Again, part of the reason why we're not playing any 3s here and we're playing a reasonably low curve, right? We're not playing too many 2 diffs. You've got to sort of respect the 2 check, I think, when you're making a deck, but I think this is a card that warrants that. And just City Rampage has been good. We were going to be playing Black Abyss, we were going to be playing Walk the Dog, we were going to be playing Risky Encounter, we were going to be playing Deception Dagger. So sort of giving up a few slots of where you're playing this sort of middling card to play this, which is quite a powerful effect, I think is worth it. You are giving up, is it Twirling Needle, I think is the attack that always counts as the first, which is always a sort of fairly staple one when playing like a Chaos Toga list. We're not playing the 4 diff that lifts an attack, is something from Real Momentum. Again, the name escapes me for now. But yeah, this has been fun and just a slightly different way of playing Toga. So yeah, give it a go. And obviously, if you've got any suggestions or changes you think I should make to the list, feel free to let me know in the comments or on Discord. And obviously, if you're not already, feel free to join our UKVersus Discord and come along and chat with us. And catch us on Twitch, .tv/UKVersus. We're there most Sundays, chatting about all things Universes. So if you're watching this, obviously, thank you very much. Do all the usual algorithm things, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much, and we will catch you in the next one.